Today we go over the future of the Star Wars franchise when it comes to President of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, as you all know, ever since the release of The Last Jedi by writer and director Rian Johnson, there's been a lot of backlash going against it, a lot of criticism, if you will, based on many of the decisions that he implemented in that movie, and exactly what Kathleen Kennedy had approved for certain choices made in that film with certain characters and plot elements, you name it. And looking past The Last Jedi, we do know that that had an effect to a degree on the Solo: A Star Wars Story box office results, more so because Kathleen Kennedy fired the two original directors and hired Ron Howard. However, that actually cost a lot of money in order to reshoot basically 80% of Solo: A Star Wars Story, and that's why they took a big hit on that movie as well. But looking at, the future here with Kathleen Kennedy, there's been a lot of talk about her leaving Lucasfilm and how a lot of people would really love to see somebody else take her place, and I gotta say, I agree. I feel like that the president of Lucasfilm really needs to know Star Wars down to the core, like Dave Filoni, and as I have stated before, they could make that work where Dave Filoni is handling the creative side of things, where then he would also have a business partner handling that, side of everything. So you could have two people running Lucasfilm. To me, I think that's the way to go. But with Kathleen Kennedy, alright, there's been a lot of rumors these past couple of months of her leaving Lucasfilm this month of September, which we will have to find out if that even happens. Apparently, she was going to be announcing her predecessor in September of 2018, alright? Apparently, she was going to be announcing her successor in September of 2018. And, so far, a lot of people have been wondering if this would actually really be a good or a bad idea. Now, of course, a lot of you guys are going to say good. If Kathleen Kennedy leaves Lucasfilm, that to me is honestly a good thing. I think that somebody else needs to replace her. Somebody that's more in tune with the Star Wars lore and the franchise as a whole, that connects to not only the EU/Legends material, but also everything that falls in line with the canon stuff. So, the thing here as to why it could be a good and or a bad idea for Kathleen Kennedy to leave Lucasfilm is, of course, it's all a matter of exactly who would take her place, and if that individual would be better or worse than Kathleen Kennedy. Now, let's look at the, situation if the successor to Kathleen Kennedy were to be a whole lot worse than Kathleen Kennedy. That honestly would not really be good for the Star Wars franchise at all. And that's a discussion that a lot of people are talking about right now. What if Disney and, Bob Iger as CEO, they get somebody else, alright, as the successor of Kathleen Kennedy, and that person is doing a totally, different job than how Kathleen Kennedy was doing things. Maybe that person could actually be worse than Kathleen Kennedy for all we know. If that ended up being the case, alright, that could be the bad end of things. So, looking at everything here, guys, I gotta say that I think that Kathleen Kennedy needs to go, respectfully. Looking at The Last Jedi and how a lot of things were treated in that movie, how things were made in the film, I just feel like of how it affected the Solo: Star Wars Story box office results. Disney, Lucasfilm, they've lost way too much money over one Star Wars movie by writer and director Rian Johnson and everybody else there. So, looking at the future here, I honestly do believe that Kathleen Kennedy's time at Lucasfilm is indeed coming to an end. We've heard lots of things ranging from Episode 9 being her final film, which could very well connect to the rumors that we heard about a couple months ago of her quite possibly announcing her successor this month, September of 2018, more towards the end of the month apparently. We'll have to wait and see if that actually ends up being the case. Now, looking at all the other Star Wars films to come, if they do get somebody to replace Kathleen Kennedy before Star Wars 2020, I honestly think that's a great move. Not only is it a great move, alright, that would actually fall in line before Bob Iger's retirement, or before he leaves Disney Star Wars. In case you guys didn't know, he will be leaving in 2021, and that could also have a negative effect too. If, let's say, the new CEO of Disney comes into play in 2021, and that person chooses somebody else to replace Kathleen Kennedy at that point in time, what if that person is actually a whole lot worse than Kathleen Kennedy? But you know what, guys? In my book, I think that anybody at this point can do a better job than Kathleen Kennedy. I just feel like that somebody needs to know Star Wars down to the core, and that's what Disney should be looking for, is somebody that just knows Star Wars. And if they know it, if they can handle the business end of things as well, okay, that's perfect. Put them on board, have them run the show, and let's see how they work out. And give them a while, and see exactly how the projects are made and the feedback it gets in comparison to the past. I think that's a great way to make it all work. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.